Hi, friends. Thank you for being here, for listening and watching. My name is Tara Long, and today I want to talk to you about forgiveness. It's a big one, right? It's a big topic for life in general. And also, as we traverse the expansive um, terrain of natural law, right? There's so many different ways and so much information. And forgiveness, the energy of forgiveness, is a really big part of it. So I talk about having peace in your heart, having peace in your system versus, anger and fear, resentment. Now, these things, of course, when we begin to learn, and most of us on this path have known for pretty much our whole lives that something is amiss, right, in the systems um, that are there that make up this structure in the matrix, if you will. And so it's not new, right? But there can be a lot of anger as we learn more and more, right? What's been done, the deceit, the lies, all of that. Um, but that system is, and I've said this before, is working perfectly exactly what it was designed to do, which is to control, right? It's about controlling the masses. And there can be, some indignation in that. And I get it, I get it when you're coming up, engaging with a road warrior, not a road warrior, a road pirate, otherwise known as a police officer, or with a judge in court, and thinking, oh, they're all just corrupt, dirty, and there are some that are for sure. And, are they there for the right reasons, for from a pure heart? Most likely, no. However, it is the system that our world currently operates within. And we were indentured into that, you know, whether we knew it or not. However, we have been voluntarily performing as the legal fiction since birth, even though we didn't know what the heck that meant, right? Um, so, as if you watch my videos, I'm in the middle of my equity jurisprudence class. And, for me, it's always been about, the energy on the inside is what gets reflected on the outside, regardless of what processes we're doing in natural law. Because I see folks who, really have things not go well for them, not go their way. But they have a lot of anger and, a lot of things that are inviting them to forgiveness. And forgiveness, of course, is always going to start with yourself, right? How can we forgive others if we haven't forgiven ourselves? For what? Well, that's up to you to look into and feel into and ask yourself, is there something I haven't forgiven myself for, first and foremost? What is that? What parts of me that I perceive to be bad or wrong or dark, that I'm judging, that I haven't forgiven, that I don't want to forgive? You might even say, I'll never forgive that. Well, that's only hurting you, right? I mean, it's only keeping you um, in the dark, stuck, not forgiving. And that's the opposite of what we are as divinity, as divine love. That's forgiveness. Doesn't mean we don't take accountability and we don't say, I that really um, that was not that was a thing that hurt people or hurt myself. It was not an aligned thing for me to do or whatever, how to behave. But I love myself. I forgive myself for that because you are worthy of that. Absolutely. And so is everyone else. Now, it doesn't mean that when we forgive someone that we don't hold them accountable, right? Don't have boundaries, don't stand firmly in our truth, stand up for ourselves, stand up for others. Doesn't mean we become doormats. That's not what forgiveness means. Forgiveness is an energy that you come with um, as an open, as an open-hearted man or woman, saying, "Okay, well, this is what happened. That like all this system, all these men and women that work for this system, that most don't have any idea or any clue, right? It's most people are not being honest with themselves in general, right? This is a really big topic, of course. Um, and so they're able to function in a world that has a lot of fear and control, right? Because they themselves are clouded up with um, all kinds of feelings, for themselves and others that is not love, that is not forgiveness, that's just blame and shame and not being honest with themselves about what their own truth is and how they want to live their lives. And it's just going along with the status quo, right? And that's their journey, and that's okay. And so then they work for these, agencies and government agencies and in this control grid system. And of course we can go, well, oh, you shouldn't, why don't you see this? You should be seeing the truth and do better, all of that. But when we go into a situation like that, when we have an engagement with a cop on the side of the road and we're righteous, and oh, you guys just whatever, you don't know, and all of that, and you come in with that, it's not gonna not it may not go well for you, right? Same in court, same in court. But if you come with forgiveness of like just open-heartedness, and again, this isn't a doormat situation. This is like, okay, I am not gonna I'm not gonna hold this against you. Okay, I'm gonna be open here with you, and I'm gonna speak the truth. I'm gonna ask questions. I'm gonna compel the performance that I know is the right thing to do, right? So we're standing firm. We know who we are. Um, we're anchored in that, and and that's what's going to actually get you results, the results and the outcome that you want is that. I'm on a thread with, I have different groups and stuff on Telegram. And one of them is this guy was like, oh, I just got out of, I was in jail for 2 weeks, because I think he was driving without a license. But he was very angry and very, I'm going to show them and how dare they, and, take their liberties away, all of that. It's like, I get it, I understand. But again, that's the energy that will get you thrown in jail. And it's not the end of the world to get thrown in jail for something like that. Also, I just want to say, but it's very inconvenient, right? And nobody wants to be stuck in jail. And you can always bring equity to these matters as well. But um, so it's like there's a better way to do this, right? There's a more honorable way. There's a way where we stay in our truth and get the truth that we want and get the outcome that we want, all while being calm, peaceful, in our, centered, but firm and asking the questions. Like, you can ask a question that might piss someone off, but if you're just asking the question, and that's a whole different energy than making a claim and stating something. So anyway, this is getting long, but I just wanted to talk about forgiveness and maybe invite, you into more of that, if that's something that is available to you right now, and if that's a place that you're at, or you feel angry, or I just had a client yesterday who was kind of going back and forth with the State Department on something. And, he admitted, like, yeah, I don't know exactly what the words he used, but, there's this fight energy, right? There's this fight, like, do what I'm asking you to do because it's the right thing. And it is the right thing. It is the truth. But coming in with a different energy is makes all the difference in life too, right? I mean, if you're going around accusing people of stuff, again, you're probably not going to get very far with them either, right? And there is a time and a place to like make a claim and make a statement and stand your ground. Of course, I'm not saying that there's never a time for that. There is. Um, but if you want the outcome that you want, there is a better way. There is. So just wanted to put that out there. Hope you're doing well and having a beautiful day. And I'll see you soon.